everyone, this is a new YouTube channel. My name is Nia, and this channel is entitled Plays by Playwright. So, if you're watching this, this is the first ever video of this YouTube channel, and I really created this just because I love theater, and I go to a high school for acting, and I really, like I said, I really enjoy theater, and I wanted to make a YouTube channel in which I review plays and different artistic things in the theater realm. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, the first ever play that we are reviewing on this channel is Fleabag by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. This is the deluxe version. It has different articles and photos throughout her time in the production all over the world. From not only her, but a couple of other people who were really important in the process, such as Vicky Jones and different crewmates who worked with her. So, let's get into it. Why did I pick this play? Well, my first introduction to this play was on Amazon. And admittedly, I do this thing where I just Google plays on Amazon and add them to my wish list. But what really caught my eye regarding Fleabag was the cover art and the title. They both stuck out to me, and I was like, hey, this is interesting. Why not get it? And I actually put this on my wish list around my birthday, if I'm not mistaken, and I got it, I want to say, right after Christmas. But this play was quite interesting, I must say. And before I was done reading it, I got reintroduced to it by a couple of my classmates who had already read the play, and they were saying that it was great. Some of them also watched the TV show on Amazon Prime, and they were like, it was so great, you should totally get to it. So I did, and I have to say, it did not disappoint. So what is this play about in the first place? Well, it is about this character who is the protagonist named Fleabag, and it showcases her life throughout the time period of about a week. And this takes place in London. And Fleabag, she is quite the troubled individual, but a very lovable individual at the same time. The way she is portrayed in the play, she tends to be very hypersexual, but also very comical. This is a comedy, dark comedy, if you will, from Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And throughout the articles that were introduced, one of them, she wrote, along with Vicky Jones, how while creating this play, they were really looking for a wow factor in which it would keep the audience on the edge of their seats, and it would really draw them into the play. They said throughout these texts that if they had a line idea, they said it, and one of them, or just the castmates or production mates, weren't really like, what did you say? They didn't add it. And that is really showcased in this play, because let me tell you, I was on the edge of my seat and dying laughing pretty much the whole time. So what is the play about? Well, it follows her life. Fleabag is in her 20s, and she has this cafe of which she used to own with her best friend Beau, who was voiced by Vicky Jones, ironically, in the original. And Phoebe, who plays Fleabag, plays a very hurt character. When it comes known to the audience that Beau actually passed away, it was like an accidental suicide, if you will. Essentially, what happened was Beau was upset that her boyfriend cheated on her with someone. This is important. Listen to it. I'll bring it up later. And she decided to run out into the street, and she wanted to get hit by a bike, break a leg. That's how they described it in the play. And what happened was she actually died, along with, I believe, 2 or 3 other people. So that was quite sad. And that really took a toll on Fleabag and the business as a whole. So the thing of this play is that Fleabag kind of has to find a way to hold on to this cafe. And as we learn and realize throughout the play, she's not going to successfully hold on to it. And the problem with that is this is the last remaining piece of her best friend, Buck. So throughout the play, she has her own way of trying to come to reality and trying to grieve with the fact she realizes she's not going to keep this play, such as going out constantly and trying to get a man to have intercourse with her, which works out in some cases and doesn't, as well as trying to strike up a lot of conversations with people, one particular person who comes into her cafe, who is this older gentleman, which honestly, I take that back. She didn't really strike up conversation with him. It was more so she kept inserting herself into the cafe to try to seek some sense of normalcy. She tried to get money from her sister. That didn't work out. And she tried to do a lot of different things to make her life feel normal. The way this starts off is she actually is at a job interview at a place that is run by someone who unfortunately had a run in with sexual harassment and sexual assault, um, in which he groped a woman. And she is really hot. She had to run there. And she lifts up her sweater, doesn't realize that she's lifting up her shirt in the process, and her bra flashes him. And he's like, hey, that's not going to get you very far here anymore. And she's like, well, that was unintentional, and I am so sorry that happened. And he doesn't quite believe her. But then she ends up being like, F you. And then he's like, get out. But she's like, no, you get out. And then she just monologues to the audience for the duration of the play. And it's great. I must say, there were several instances in here where I was really shocked. Um, One part that really broke my heart was she got Bo, her best friend, this hamster. And Bo loved this hamster, well, hamster guinea pig. And the cafe was hamster guinea pig themed. So after Bo passed away, it was Fleabag's responsibility to take care of the hamster. And she would hold it and care for it. And it got to one point where after the older gentleman, she flashed him and he was like, put your shirt back on, sweetheart. Like, I know you're struggling, but I'm not going to help that. She holds the hamster guinea pig to her bare chest, and I didn't click until the second time I read this. She crushes the hamster because she says she can hear the bones crack. That really broke my heart. That's an instance in the play. Another part that actually really shocked me that okay, I'll do a happy part that's in the beginning. Well, not necessarily happy, but like a more lighthearted part that's in the beginning, and then a more darker part in the end, as an example of what really caught my eye of this play. Um, there was a part in the beginning where Fleabag was doing some things to herself, and she was watching stuff, taking care of herself, and she fell asleep. And then she woke up the next morning to a note from her boyfriend saying that that was the final straw. And when I tell you, I gagged and was laughing for 5 minutes. It was absolutely hilarious. I remember the first time I was reading this, I remember I was on public transportation and I got to that part and I had to like withhold my laughter because it was a really crowded bus and I was like, I don't need these people thinking I'm crazy. But anywho, that was really funny to me. And that's one instance. And then the second instance would be at the end where essentially, like I mentioned her sister earlier, her sister's name is Claire. And ironically, I've noticed a lot of funny similarities between this play, like not per se, but like just different things in a play that I'm going to review, not next week, but like the next week to that next week, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so her sister's name is Claire, and she's a lot different than Fleabag in the sense of she's a lot more stable in her life. She has a pretty well paying job. She actually just got a job offer to go to Finland, which is something she really wants to do. But her husband is holding her back, and in a way, so is her stepchild. But long story short, what happens is she was planning on giving Fleabag money. But why she didn't give Fleabag money and why their relationship got rocky again was because apparently not too long ago, Fleabag allegedly tried to flirt with Claire's husband. Fleabag has a different account. She says that the husband tried to flirt with her and that she had no intention of trying to seduce Claire's husband. But that's not the version Claire wanted to believe. So in turn, she got mad at Fleabag when Fleabag persisted her about the money and said, "How could I trust what you're saying regarding my husband when you did what you did to your best friend?" And that's when it dawned to me that she was the girl her best friend's boyfriend cheated on her with. And that hurt me a lot because just reading the articles before the beginning of the play, because there's articles in the deluxe version before the play and then after the play, but the ones before the play, and just understanding how integral Vicky Jones, who Bo was loosely based off of, was to this story, it broke my heart. And just the idea of hurting your best friend like that to the point where she kills herself. And that, I honestly was walking with Fleabag. I was like, you're a bit out there, but I don't dislike you as a person. That right there really, really hurt my feelings. Um, I was like, damn, that's not fun. But that is essentially the play. And I think that it's a great play. And there are a lot of nuances and a lot of little things in there that make you go, wow, and really make you think about life in general. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she is honestly phenomenal, but don't take my word for it. Google her. She has worked on Fleabag as well as Killing Eve, and she also has been in a plethora of other productions, both on stage and both on the screen. One of the roles she played was actually a robot in Star Wars, and I must admit, body's teeth. She also has been on a plethora of interviews, Vogue, and just different shows, Stephen Colbert, um, just a plethora. And I must say, she is just as amazing as you can imagine her playing Fleabag as, or if you've watched the Amazon Prime series, she is just as animated and fun in person and like in real life as on TV and on stage. And I must admit, she is so eccentric. So in the process of writing this play, in the deluxe version, it gets revealed that at the time that they were essentially blocking and working on the play, Phoebe hadn't actually written the play. The play was being written as they were in rehearsal, and the stage manager was not very happy about that. One time she broke down crying in the bathroom because of like the anxiety, and I can imagine just the anxiety of being like, oh, is this going to actually work? Like, I'm not saying that these people are untalented, but like, could this actually work? This is not written yet. It's not solidified. What are we doing? Makes perfect sense. Um, Vicky Jones also helped with a plethora of other things regarding to the play. She really helped dramaturg it and helped Phoebe really find who Fleabag was and what she wanted. Along with a plethora of other things helping throughout the play. And Phoebe, she was honestly she was kind of scared to put this on at first. It first started off as like a 10-12 minute monologue, and a friend of hers invited her to a festival, and she did the 10-minute monologue, and the crowd loved it, and she was like, you need to do something about this. So she took it, she made it, and got it got shown a couple different places. She just became Fleabag in the sense of it was so astounding to read these articles and see the interviews and read the play and just really understand the talent and the work that went into this production on all sides of the spectrum. Um, Phoebe is, like I said, I've said this like 3 times. She's quite eccentric, but that is showcased in her work in the best ways. Her company that she co-founded with Vicky Jones, Dry Right, is kind of is a company that kind of produced the idea of this wow factor. It was actually a test in which they described in the deluxe version, where you would have a balloon, and I can't quite remember if you would pop it or if you would release it. But long story short, people would perform short plays or monologues or whatever, and you would raise it, pop it, drop it, lock it, something like that. Once the play really made you lock in, and there was something in it that shocked you, made you want more. And they really applied that idea to Fleabag, like I mentioned earlier. And it's just great. I don't know how else to say it in like I, I don't speak any other languages, so it's great. Like it's really a great play. So, what are some things I may have liked and may have not have liked? Please take this with a grain of salt. My opinion is solely my opinion, and if you disagree, that is perfectly fine. No judgment if you do. But me personally, I'm gonna start off with the likes. I really liked the idea of the wow factor and keeping the audience on their toes at all times. And also the idea of trying to relate to the audience and to make sure that you are communicating with them. However, you are still getting a reaction out of them at the same time. And the truthfulness that went into making this play and showcasing it. Those are things I really liked about it. I also liked on the non necessarily performance side, the effort that went into creating it in the sense of the community that went into it. They described after the play in the articles how they used at one point in time they would all sleep in the same flat and have rehearsals. How they spent a lot of time together, and how that really helped bond and make Fleabag Fleabag, and how that impacted the whole cast and made them realize how important community is when it comes to theater. So those are some things I really did like. In terms of what I didn't like, I would say there's not. I would say it's just the fact that Fleabag, for lack of better words, killed her best friend. That hurt. I was like, wow. But that's not a writer critique. That's not a producer critique. It's just that's the character, you know. I also was a bit confused both the first and second go around, but I was less confused in the second go around when it came to the opening and closing of the play. It took me a minute to get in my head that she's in an interview, and then once he leaves, she just walks in and starts talking to the audience. Didn't quite click in my head at first, but I got it. So that's not really a writing critique. Not that I'm trying to critique, just open opinion. Yeah. So, what can I take away from this play? What can you take away from this play? I would say that this play is really about grief, and in this modern world of feminism and individualism, having to come to terms with it, and how you, in a way, it's implied, come out on the better side of it. Realizing that you have a problem or there's something wrong, and you need to acknowledge it and fix it. That really gets showcased in the last scene where she has a monologue explaining why she is so hypersexual and why she constantly craves male attention. And then she realizes, I feel like that's the only thing that I can control. And it hurts me when someone does not want to have intercourse with me because it's like I can't control my own life anymore. The one thing I can control, I can't. And that really says something. We all have different paths in life. We all have different journeys. We all have different hardships. But I think something most humans can agree on, or hopefully everyone, is that grief sucks, but it's also good. And coming to terms with it and realizing that something needs to change, and while it's not your fault that grief has happened to you, it is your responsibility to come out on the better side of it, or at least try to. It's very profound. Well, guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please offer any advice, feedback, commentaries, anything in the comments. I'm open to all suggestions and all information. If you want, have a discussion in the comments. I would love to know what you all thought about this play if you've read it or the TV show. I have not read the TV show. Wow, read the TV show. I have admittedly not watched the TV show. But I have read the play twice, so I really, really would love to just communicate thoughts about that and what it was. Um, that's all for this video, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. Also, please leave any play recommendations in the comments as well. And that's it for this video. Bye, dramaturgs. See you next time.